We are back. It is time for another edition of Wake Up the Echoes presented by TireRack.com. I'm your host, Tony Simeone, and it's great to be back inside the studio after a couple weeks off. Took a break after the come down from the Notre Dame football season that was really an outstanding year. Got to within one game of winning a national championship, a great run. But now it's time to shift our gears to the spring. And in the spring, it's time to start talking about lacrosse. Notre Dame, of course, has the two-time defending national champions on the men's side. We had a chance to talk to head coach Kevin Corrigan about how his team will try to go for a three-peat this year. Hard to believe that he is in year 37 as the head coach at Notre Dame. Just unbelievable what he and his program have done. And then on the women's side, of course, Kristen Halfpenny. She's been around a long time as well, too. 14th year coming up for Coach Halfpenny. Was great talking to both head coaches as we previewed the upcoming season. Also talked to a couple of players on each side as well. I talked to Chris Kavanagh and Ben Ramsey for the men, and then Kristen, Shanahan, and Lyons on the women's side. It was great to just talk to them about their experience at Notre Dame and what they have in store for this upcoming season. So it was awesome to talk some lacrosse on this week's episode. Let's not waste any time. We got plenty of conversations coming up right now on Wake Up the Echoes. Okay, Coach Corrigan, we're making some history here on Wake Up the Echoes. This is our first lacrosse episode, and you're actually part of our Yeti Cooler Conversations segment. So thanks for coming by today.
Happy to be here. Thanks.
Okay, let me get this straight. Is this year 37?
37. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so are you the longest tenured coach at Notre Dame right now? Do you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. What does that feel like to be the longest tenured coach?
Oh, I don't know. You just keep your head down. You don't think about much in the way of that kind of thing. You certainly draw on experiences that you've had along the way and that kind of thing. But I don't ever really sit back and think about the passage of time.
Okay. Good. I'm going to try to avoid thinking about the passage of time as well because I start to feel older every year that I walk around campus. This program you've got now, back-to-back national championships. I know you're getting set to start another season here, but just from your standpoint, what's been the real key to the success over the course of obviously 3.5 decades, but really the last 2 years winning these two titles?
I mean, it's hard to say because I want to be real careful to acknowledge that we were competing at a high level for a long time. So the consistency of getting into the quarterfinals every year or getting to the Final Four every couple of years, I think is important. And I want to acknowledge it because it's not like those are years that we failed and hey, we had 35 bad years and 2 good ones,
right.
Or whatever. So, at the same time, listen, at the end of the day, it's about making plays when you have to make plays. I mean, that's how that's the difference between the champion and the runner up, right? Yeah. And so we had a lot of seasons where we got to the end and we didn't make that play, despite our best efforts, and this time we did. So we talked earlier about my brother and working with the NBA, and they say all the time in that league it's a make or miss league, right? And we made the shots the last couple of years. We made the plays.
So I want to ask you then, because I thought that was great. You bring up all the teams that came before. It's not just the 2 teams that won it. It's been a collective effort to get there. When you guys break through and win the first title a couple of years ago, what were the messages like? Were you getting messages from former players like, hey, we did this. We finally got the accomplishment that really we've all been building to over this
Yeah, no doubt about it. Everybody felt a part of it. It was amazing. One of the most gratifying things that after that game in Philadelphia, we come out into the parking lot and there are literally thousands of people and hundreds of guys from our former teams who felt a part of it and wanted to be there. And for whatever reason, it just seemed like they all came that weekend. They felt like this is it. We're going to get this year and this weekend. And so tremendous outpouring of support from those guys. But there wasn't ever a time where you didn't feel their support. I mean, we've had unbelievable, contributions and unbelievable connections with the guys over the years, and they stay so connected with each other that when a few are coming, then a few more are coming, and then you get a whole bunch in a spot like that.
I imagine the group text is very lively when they're leading up to the national championship.
I'm sure there's a number of different strains on that group text, some of which I'm aware of, and many of which I'm probably thankfully not.
Yeah, probably for the best. Yeah. You mentioned support, and obviously the team is supporting itself and the former players. But something I've noticed, really in my time here, this is my 9th season on campus, especially with as you guys have been so successful, and the women too. the way Arlotta kind of comes alive when you guys are at home, whether I see, of course, the football team sometimes comes out, but just the fan support, the community support. What's it like now playing in Arlotta to get the support the way you guys do whenever you take the field at home here? Because it seems incredible.
No, it is. It really is. I mean, we sell out virtually all our games in the second half of the season when the weather's good and the opponents are really strong, and that's awesome. I mean, you come out there and you feel the enthusiasm, you play off of that. And it's a great environment for our guys, which is what it's all about.
I want to know from your standpoint, I'm going to ask Coach Halfpenny when she comes by for Women's Lacrosse, because I get the sense like lacrosse when I watch, it's a super passionate fan base. And to an extent, I don't want to call it there's a niche fan base, but there's people that really get the sport. And then there's those that don't necessarily understand it entirely that might be in the community. If you were talking to somebody that wants to kind of venture in for the first time, how do you pitch them? What's the elevator pitch on why you should come watch a Notre Dame lacrosse game in South Bend?
I mean, it's difficult because if somebody's never seen the sport, it's hard to draw them in. Except that my short version is I don't know many people that watch the game and go, oh, that stinks. I don't ever want to see that again. It's fun. It's physical. It's exciting. There's high scoring. It's just got so many elements of what people like in sports. Mm-hmm. It's fast and continuous. And so, you sit down and you're entertained for 2 hours. It's not a thing where, every 5 seconds everybody stops and resets for a minute and then they play another 5 seconds, which, listen, people love football, but that's the experience of watching a football game, right?
Yeah.
It's a 3 or 4 hour thing and you're watching a total of, what do they say, 7 minutes of actual, play on the field. I mean, if you come to a 2 hour lacrosse game, you're seeing an hour of actual play on the field and I think that's got a lot to draw people in.
Yeah, I want to know about this team then in particular. Obviously, every team has its own character, and you're going to learn about this team as they go throughout the season. But as you've gotten ready for this season, what kind of stands out? What do you think the identity of this team, or what are you hoping the identity of this team is when you take the field on Wednesday?
Well, I think that's to be determined.
Okay.
I mean, you can't. If it was that easy that you just wrote it down on a piece of paper and it became so. Then it would be a much simpler task. I think what we have shown is we have a lot of depth. We have a lot of guys competing for spots and for playing time, and that's going to benefit us over the course of the year. But it benefits us every day in our development and all that. And I think again a very tight knit group that really cares about getting better every day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's easy to get focused on the results, but for the team and for the players, the trick is to stay focused on the process and stay focused on the everyday. And I think we've had, we've done that very, very well through the preseason and fall.
Two players that are going to talk to us a little bit later today are Chris Kavanagh, Ben Ramsey. They're going to come by. Of course, you have another Kavanagh on the team, which is incredible. But what have those two done to kind of take a leadership role in this group? How have they led? Because it just seems like every year you have to find who are the guys that are going to lead us the way we need to be led and continue kind of the culture of the program. What have they done in your eyes to set you guys up for success this year?
One of the things about the leadership is that it usually naturally evolves over the course of the years. Those guys are leaders within their class before they're ever leaders within the team or leaders of the team. So you tend to see that coming. It was a little bit less so with these guys because they always had at least 2 classes ahead of them, right? Because of COVID, we had 5 years in the last, 4 classes. And so they literally had 25 guys in front of them last year as juniors. They had that many people in front of them and many of whom we had 3 2-year captains in front of them, and guys that had kind of sucked up the oxygen in the room on leadership in a way, but not in a bad way. I mean, they were very generous and very good leaders in the fact that they included everybody in things. But it was never their role to be the ones kind of making some decisions and deciding, how to effectively hold everybody accountable and bring everybody together and do that. And those are two things that can be at odds with each other. So you have to there's an art to doing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not something you can read in a book. And so I think it's been an interesting journey for them as leaders,
sure.
And for our whole senior class and in that same vein. And so, that's something we're still in the throes of developing, and they are. But I think they've done a really good job of kind of having the courage to step out there and make mistakes and learn from them and get better. And they're doing that just like we are, every day. But they've got the respect of everybody. It starts with that. And certainly their teammates were the ones that selected them as captains. So it's not like they're there without some kind of mandate in the sense to do it, but it's still the trick of doing it every day, right? That's the beauty.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch as that evolves throughout the year. I'm sure you'll have a front row seat to it. The other guy I want to ask about, I'd be remiss if I didn't, is Jordan Faison. Coach Freeman sits here and talks to me about football in the fall, and Jordan Faison comes up every now and then, and he loves the fact that he plays multiple sports. I want to know from your standpoint, when you see him on the football field, are you holding your breath every time he goes down the field to try to make a big play? And just what is the experience like to see him obviously have the great football success and then come and play for you guys as well?
No, there's no holding your breath. I mean, listen, guys get hurt in a million different ways. Stepping off curbs, dancing injuries, whatever.
You've seen it all.
I mean, over time, we heard it all anyway. Yeah, so you can't get caught up in that. I mean, he's an athlete and he's doing athletic things, and getting banged up at different times might be part of that. But we don't hold our breath on that. Jordan's fantastic. I mean, he frankly, he's not. He just came out yesterday for the first time. It's the first time we've seen him. It's only still a little over a couple of weeks away from playing in the national championship game and playing the longest football season that any college football player has ever played. Right? I mean, that's not to be forgotten. That there are an extra couple games in this season that no one's ever played before. So he needed a break, and he's been taking one, and he's going to start kind of easing back into lacrosse here over the next couple weeks. But he's uniquely suited to do this. He's got an unbelievable disposition, that kind of hides a fierce competitiveness, that allows him to kind of come out and effectively move from one to the other and kind of seamlessly, even though the demands of the two positions and that he plays are completely different. So, he's been great. Coach Freeman and the football guys have been great to work with because, I think we're all focused on Jordan, right? Yeah. In all honesty, that's been the best thing about it is there's been no kind of like, oh gosh, this, that, or the other. It's just been about, hey, this is a unique opportunity for a unique athlete, and we're going to allow him to do it to the best of his ability. We're going to monitor him to make sure that we're doing it the right way, but at the same time, at some point, it's like parenting. You got to take your hands off the wheel and say, this guy's doing this, and how can we help him do it really well? And I think that's where everybody's been focused.
It's been amazing to see too, right? And everybody's benefited from it, right? You guys have benefited, football, and he has benefited, which is what you want to see. And he's going to be the answer to an amazing trivia question. As he's got to be one of the only athletes to play in 2 different national championships in a 7-month span. It's an unbelievable athletic accomplishment on his behalf.
No question.
I want to ask you about one other thing, kind of shift gears, just because we were talking before we started. I'm an only child. You're one of 7. Yeah. Explain to me what it's like growing up as one of 7. You mentioned, obviously, your brother worked for ESPN. You're one of, 5 brothers, 2 sisters. Just what's that dynamic like when you think back to being one of 7?
Yeah, I mean, big families are a little bit like teams, right? They're big and they're loud and they're fun and they're messy and they're, there's always a lot of competition and there's always a lot of kind of, I don't know what you would call it, for lack of a word, banter or whatever that that everybody takes the heat. So it's you kind of learn to be a little thick-skinned and learn to fight for what you want and what what's important to you. But you're also have the unique thing of having people. I mean, literally every single day of your life, you've been loved by a group of people that support you and really care about you. And as much as they might, fight and compete with you, they got your back in every situation. And that's a pretty great place to start in the world.
It sounds like that mindset helped you develop into a coach, right? If you have that, a lot of those traits seem to carry over to having to lead a group of
I think
of
you'd
men,
love
right?
to be trying to get a team to feel that way about each other, right?
Yeah.
Because it needs to get tough. It needs to get competitive. It needs to, right? I mean, everybody's got, sometimes competing interests, but the interest of each other is paramount, right? And so if you can get everybody to kind of care that way, then you've got something special.
Last one I have, I want to kind of come back to where we started here, is just about Notre Dame. I don't think anybody stays somewhere for 37 years without caring deeply about the place that they're working and building a program and having all the success you've had. So what is it about Notre Dame that's kept you here for so long, and what gives you the pride that you have to be in this position you've been in for such a long time?
Well, it's certainly not something I started out saying, hey, I've got the last job of my career. I'm just going to stay here and coach lacrosse for the next 4 decades, But things evolve the way they do, right? I mean, for one thing, when I got here, the support for our team was not very strong, right? There was more that we didn't have than what we did, but it was a great university and great kids, and so I was more than happy at 29. I was thrilled to have an opportunity to coach at a place like this and coach kids like that and everything else. And every time I did start to look around at opportunities, it seemed like when I really looked at it, we were getting better, we were getting more, we were getting the support you need, we were getting that. And so there was professionally that side of things, we were always advancing. I was like, is that going to be a better job or not in a few years, right?
Yeah.
And what the trajectory of our program is for the next 5 years. And then the other side of that is just my family was very happy here, and you don't mess with happy. Mm-hmm. So when I looked at it and thought, do we take the chance that if I take this other job, I'll be happier and my kids will be happier and my wife will be happier? Well, they're happy now. So do I risk that, right? And then the last part is just sort of an alignment of our family with this community, an alignment of my values and desires as a coach and just in my own life to be at a place like Notre Dame where that's so important and the perspective is always kind of kept right. It's a place that cares about winning. They want to support you. They want you to expect you to be successful, right? It's part of the deal. You need to win, and that's where you want to be. But it's also kept in the perspective that it's not as important as the people. It's not as important as the development of the young men in the program. It's not as important as you doing a good job of making sure that these guys are getting their priorities right in terms of their academics and doing everything else. And so that's a great environment to be in, right? Yeah. Where you have a chance for success. They expect and demand success, but they support you to be successful, and you're working with fantastic people on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, this is my 9th year in South Bend, and I didn't think I'd be here 9 years. So they've kind of kept me around in the same way. The more you're around here, the more you realize it's a great place to be, and you can accomplish a lot here. And watching you guys get the 2 titles now the last 2 years, it's been fun to see the team get the recognition at the highest level that you guys have really been deserving of for a long time. So,
thank you.
Coach, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate your time. Good luck this season.
Yeah, thanks. Great to be with you.
All right, we'll take a quick break and come right back.
Okay,
this is a thrill. Coach Halfpenny, welcome to Wake Up the Echoes. I feel like we are long overdue to have a conversation on the couches here. How are you feeling?
Indeed. Feeling really good, We're here. We're 2 games into the season. February has arrived, and really just loving what we see so far. It's been really a fun ride.
I was talking to you here a second ago before we started, and I was just thinking back to the first time I met you was back 2016, 2017. I was like, gosh, I've been here for almost 9 years now.
Yeah.
You've been here is this year 14 as the head coach?
This is year 14.
Okay, so how does that feel to now be embarking upon season 14? Anytime you're 14 years at the same place, it means that, it's been a really enjoyable process. I know you like the work. Just what does it feel like to now be starting the 14th season at Notre Dame?
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like I had that feeling last year almost. In year 13, it was, whoa, like 13, right? And you just look back at the memories and you look back at the journey, that brought you here. And there's multiple things, really been so fortunate to be here. I mean, we look back and we're grateful for the belief that there has been in me and the program, and all the unbelievable people that have come through the program. And then to be embarking on, what obviously everybody knows is a pretty brand new looking lineup and a brand new squad. And you're building all these new relationships. And it brings you back to the beginning a little bit, where it's new people. It's same grit, same grind. Our group and program is built to last, but it's just looking back at all of it. And there is this cool sense of calm in some ways that we've been here before. I've been here before with a brand new crew, and you've been doing this for almost a decade and a half. So you start to get this feeling of understanding best practices. What are these 18 to 22-year-olds going to need in this amazingly awesome environment that Notre Dame provides, high achieving, albeit, where are our needs going to lie most? And you just really think about smiling a lot, enjoying the journey and digging into the relationships, because what's been built over the last 14 years, it's kind of what comes through the old text messages after games now. Alumni's shooting text messages to the team and replying to our, Instagram and social media handles, which that wasn't happening 14 years ago, but now here we are. And just, calls and a lot of support and a lot of love. And so, it's kind of a lot to wrap your brain around, because it's awesome. But I'm probably more motivated than ever to get this program where I want us to be. So, I'm a lifelong learner. And so we just keep educating ourselves. And I keep educating myself on how we can continue to best put our position in our program in a position to continue to push through and get to Memorial Day weekend.
You mentioned the new look, and I think it's you graduated 17 players last year, and you have 11 freshmen this year. And I was just looking through the stats before I got here. I gotta be honest, I looked at all the names. I was like, I don't recognize these names. So I got so used to the names of the last half decade or so. And I think the COVID year maybe helped that a little bit, where people had the extra year of eligibility. So what have you found in the off season? And any coach that goes through this kind of turnover has to kind of figure out the best way to get the new people acclimated. Like you said, you have a standard you guys have built over now almost a decade and a half.
Yeah.
What's the biggest, I don't want to call it challenge, but thing you have to focus on as a head coach when you lose that many familiar faces and have to fold in so many new faces?
Yeah. Out of the jump, I feel like this summer I was kind of laying out what are the dynamics of this team going to look like? What are our personalities? Where are they coming from? What are their strengths? And how can we showcase those with this group that we have right now of 34 players? What is this going to look like? And so I think first and foremost, it's right out of the jump, it's relationship building. We want to make sure that they're connected. We have little teams within a team, which is each class, and pretty specific, as most coaches are, in how they build out a class. It's not just the talent, but it's also the intangibles that we bring in. We need strong communicators. But we look at the returners, and while they have so much experience here with Notre Dame women's lacrosse in our cultural program, many are stepping into the biggest playing experience of their life. So their Notre Dame life, I should say, coming back from injury, or have been working while they wait and have been remaining highly positive, outstanding attitudes, great effort, and they just know it's their time. And so we spent some time, at the end of last season, really talking about that and pumping them up. And, I think that a big focus for us has been confidence, always leaning in and falling back on our gold standards, which were created by women, that have come before our current team and have taken a look. We really like to always hold ourselves to the gold standard. Our gold standards, are 7 of them. And
real quick, can I cut you off there? Can you lay them out for me? What are the 7? Because I saw I don't want to put you on the spot. I saw the video, the season hype video, which is great. And I heard gold standard. I wanted to, if you don't have all 7 for me, that's fine. But I just want to get an idea of when you are preaching the gold standard, what does that mean?
Yeah. there's 7 of them, and they have very specific definitions that the team has put in with them. So, I'm in no particular order, but unity is the first one, and we talk about what that looks like both within our program and outside of our program. Excellence kind of embodies all of them, but that's truly what we're looking to pursue. Accountability is something that everyone within the program really, I think, strives to take accountability, because when we do, we're able to continue to also be learners. We kind of say when you're taking accountability for your actions, we're going to win a lot, but we'll never lose. We'll be able to keep learning, take accountability for individual actions, and then get right back to it, unified as a group. So a lot of these kind of tie together as well, if you will. Sacrifice. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to be a part of a high-level performing Division I program. So sacrifice is one that the girls have always wanted to keep as one of our gold standards for the years and years that we were developing this in the infancy of my time here.
Yeah.
Sacrifice. Did I say that? Yeah, I did. I just said sacrifice.
Yeah. Unity, accountability, excellence, sacrifice,
respect.
Respect.
Yeah, so on to something.
Okay.
Respect. I think that's another word that sometimes I think people just take that one for granted. Well, of course we respect ourselves. Of course we respect everything. But we talk about respecting the process, respecting feelings, respecting highs and lows, and so we focus on that quite a bit. And that one is, we kind of come back to that one to ground ourselves often. We walk these out with our sports psychologist as well. And my last 2, they're really in passion. Passion is a big one for us. Okay. And that one, I think that one probably would be, to the average fan that watches any game we play, they might say that one first.
Okay.
That our team
for
feels
sure.
So much passion, top to bottom, whether it's the way we're playing, the way we're at a family tailgate.
I see like sideline support. Oh, we're on the same page. Whenever I watch a game or have been lucky enough to produce them or call them, that's the thing that sticks out. Sideline support. It's like no matter who scores, everyone is celebrating passionately.
Yes, and I think that's something, and we'll probably get to this one too. But our team touched on all of these in these first 2 games of the season. One learn and one win. I would say that unity and passion were 2 of the biggest standards that we felt were palpable.
Okay.
On that day when the camera would be panning through the course of every quarter. And the last one is relentlessness. And actually
you were relentless in getting through those 7, by the way. So I got to give you credit.
There.
You were relentless. You would not be denied.
It's the morning after the Super Bowl. I'm just, here putting it all together to, a 2-game weekend.
No, it's but amazing effort you're putting in this one too. Yeah.
We have relentless is the word that's written. And there was quite a bit of dialogue and debate a decade ago when these were being put in and then looked at every year.
Yeah.
And do we need to change these? Is anything changing with who we are as a program? And so there was a camp that said it should be relentlessness. And it was very long. And I was like, oh, it's a lot of syllables. It's a lot of syllables. Maybe it's just relentless. And now here I find myself 14 years later. So for all my alums that are out there and any of them listening, I feel free to shoot me a text and say, see, we told you it should be relentlessness, because now I say relentlessness.
Is there an acronym then? Because I'm thinking of, there's 2 R's, there's a lot of vowels. It's probably tough to get the full acronym. I'm going to work on that.
I'm not going to lie. I looked at it, and exactly when you start looking at the letters, I don't know if we'd even want to use a word that we can make up there, because I'm not sure if it would even be in the English language.
Okay.
But ultimately, right, because I did this. I was like, I'm going to need an acronym to remember these sometimes when I've got my task list of what needs to be done.
I'll go to the whiteboard and see if I can come up with something that's even if it's not a word, it's an easy one to roll off the tongue. You mentioned, this was really interesting. So you mentioned a win and a learn. Mm-hmm. Never heard that. I want to know, I guess, where that comes from. But also then tell me about what you did learn, and obviously a really good opponent you're playing in Northwestern in the game you guys did not win. But what you've learned here maybe a week into the season and where that terminology comes from.
Yeah, I think that when we're asking for such a high level of effort and a high attitude every single day, and we know it's a long season, if we get too wrapped up in the final score, of a 60-minute game that saw plenty of highs and lows and growth moments, whether it be last year's team full of fourth and fifth years with incredible experience playing for Notre Dame in our jerseys, or you go to a team like this year where we returned 3 mainstays from last year's team, and then truly another 12 saw the field, that we're seeing it for the first time in substantial minutes. And they are literally growing up every single minute of the game. If we just chalk up that game to we lost, then we're losing those growth moments. We're losing that opportunity to celebrate where we did have, the small victories that we can recreate in the next big game. And so we're always learning, we have a plan going into games to win our 1v1 battles, see the matchups, win the matchups, and then do it collectively and together, to balance, all those individual goals with the team's success and the team's goals at the top. So out of the jump this weekend, that is a big opponent. It's a great rivalry out here in the Midwest, a Big Ten and an ACC opponent. Northwestern, Notre Dame go back from the beginning of time when both started their programs before my time here. And that's been a really exciting game. It's the games, those are the type of games that you come to Notre Dame to play.
Right.
And when you get those years where you're both heavyweight hitters, if you will, and you both know that your goals are to get to Memorial Day weekend, it's going to be an awesome competition. And so what we saw was our team's resiliency. Now, mind you, that's not one of those 7 gold standard words, but in there, resiliency comes from a number of those words. And the belief,
relentless adjacent,
a million %. I think that also it's respecting the process that we have been taking to get to that moment in the game, so that we didn't, sit and hang our heads and lament on a missed play or a missed opportunity in that game. We moved forward, and the connections that maybe weren't there in the first quarter for our team, where everybody was just realizing what it's all about at the highest level of Division I, right? Northwestern is a runner-up from last year. A bunch of new faces, but a lot of returning stars on their team. We had to work through that 15 minutes, but there was a relentless belief and unity that we've got this. We don't roll over. We know exactly who we are. And that was just a really wonderful moment. And then the way we came out of the gate swinging obviously shows that's why we learn. We don't lose. We don't hang our heads. We move forward. And I'm just so proud of them for that, because it made for a really successful weekend that we'll look back on and say we grew in those moments on game 1.
I want to ask you about a couple players. They're going to be here a little bit later. Kristen Shanahan, Abby Lyons. You mentioned it's a group of people that even if they've been around for a while, they're stepping into new roles. I know Kristen was hurt, I think, last year. Now she's back in a really important role for you as a leader. I guess just you can talk about both and what they mean to this team, but specifically someone like that coming back off injury, getting her back in the mix. What does that mean?
Yeah. Getting Kristen back has been, there's layers to it, because she's just such an awesome human being to start with. And she's been through it here. She's had injuries. Her freshman year, she had a lower leg injury. It was, the COVID year where Notre Dame was live in the flesh, in class, tapped out, for close contacts and all the things. She was freshman that year. And in her own right, coming here, she was one of the top players in her class that was recruited to come here out of Long Island. High IQ, unbelievable competitive attitude, and an incredible skill set, which is being showcased more than ever already in our first 2 games. But I think her journey of that freshman injury, coming back sophomore year, and probably, frankly, not even being at 100%, but being, ready to go at what she was able to do. She learned a lot in that moment. And then in her junior year, she has a really great junior year. And her senior year, another lower leg injury, which, set her on the sidelines last year. But man, watching that young woman's determination is unbelievable. She was like, I'm going to come back. I'm going to be better than ever. Being a part of a 11-person class, all of her teammates leaving.
Yeah.
And saying, I'll stick around. Like, I see what next year is, but I'm going to come back and do this because I want to do it on my terms.
Right.
And I know what I can continue to offer this program. And so, she was like, our team leadership positions, our captain positions are voted for by the team. And the coaches have been really thrilled that we are completely on the same page with what they vote for. And it's loud and clear and just very clear cut. Kristen was, a very loud vote by her teammates. And I think it's because she can balance the love and care that is needed, especially this year with so many newbies and people returning or playing for the first time coming back from injury, but also with the standard of excellence. She opens up yesterday's goal scoring with another behind back. And I did say that, another behind back. We're 2 games in and it's in her repertoire. I mean, looks kind of, like fifth year should. She's a woman amongst girls out there.
Okay.
And she's doing it with unbelievable class, character, and a perfect balance for this year's team with intensity, but yet a ton of love. So we're in great hands with Kristen, and it's really fun. She's stepped into the draw circle now for us. We have someone that's working to get back to the field through injury that happened in our exhibition, and so Kristen was already in the mix, as our draw taker, but really stepping into this role and owning it and having fun with it, and that's just showing our team we're ready for anything. We always step up to challenges. We face them. We're not afraid of them. And we do it with that high character and class. So I could speak for days on Kristen Shanahan. She's a joy. It's a joy right now to coach her.
Okay, last one I have is going to be kind of big picture on just women's lacrosse.
Yeah.
I go back to when I first was working here doing women's lacrosse games, 2016, 17. And I think they had just changed the shot clock or put the shot clock in a way. Every year, I think women's lacrosse has gotten more and more interesting and dynamic. The pro league's launching as well, right?
Yeah, this week.
So just from your standpoint, this is now 14 years here, but you've been involved with the sport for a long time. What are you most excited about with the way this sport has evolved and grown? I think it's getting great coverage. I think it's growing in popularity. And just quite frankly, it's viewed differently than at least, put it this way, I look at it differently than I did a decade ago, and it's in a much more positive light. How do you see it evolving? Where do you see it going? What excites you about the future of the game?
Yeah, the evolution in the last 2 decades is unbelievable. And I think that the growth, because our game keeps growing at the youth level. I mean, when you see a sport that has had this constant growth, it hasn't dropped off, that's a great sign for us. I get excited about our game continuing to get more and more linear coverage. So you touched on that there's unbelievable. And obviously, I think that we're in the digital world now. So any lacrosse that we can get streamed is wonderful. But the more we keep getting it linear, I think that's going to continue to grow our game.
Right.
The new WLLL is going to be wonderful. Athletes Unlimited had an awesome space for these high-level players to play next level after college was done, not just World Cup, Team USA, but another outlet to showcase our sport, showcase these high-level athletes that are unbelievably skilled, and show how much fun a game like women's lacrosse can be to be a fan of. That the momentum is sick. The changing momentum, the high scoring, it's acrobatic. It's exciting, really, at this point. And so I'm excited for our sport to grow, and I really am pumped about this league. It kicks off this week. We have 5 of our own on the same team. So the Boston Guard. So we'll be cheering hard for the Boston Guard, our old big 3, along with Hannah Dorney and Andy Aldave, all playing together.
I'm putting on the spot here, but is it on ESPN? Isn't ESPN involved?
We are. Yes, we are involved. They have their whole stream schedule actually is up. If anybody on social media can go to WLLL, and you'll see all their outlets and showcasing all of our very own Notre Dame women's lacrosse players, which we're so thrilled about. I think getting us a big topic of conversation is getting the women's game in a 2-hour window. Right now, we're just over 2, and we know how that rolls. We know how that rolls on ESPN or any outlet. But I think that the more we can get this game on linear television, the better. We're going to continue this growth, this rapid growth rate, and keep us at that pro level. This is an exciting time. Even one of my new assistants, she's a pro player, had an incredible season with Athletes Unlimited, Ellie Macera. And she's currently working through Team USA with sixes and, our senior team. So it's exciting to see where we continue to go.
Olympics too, right?
And Olympics 2028 LA.
That's going to be huge too.
Huge.
And I think to your point, obviously the 2 hour thing's big, but it just feels like in the last decade they've found a way to take some of the guardrails off in a way that has, like you said, it's almost as if there were great athletes that weren't able to put that on full display. Yeah. And now it seems like every year more and more, and now there's more leagues, and you're going to see the best of the best play. And I think that there's an opportunity moving towards LA.
Yes.
If you get this sport in a primetime window in LA at the Olympics, that's when you could see even another boom. So
we agree.
Okay. All right. Looking forward to it. Coach, great to see you.
Thanks so much.
Looking forward to this season. Best of luck with everything.
Thanks.
Let's have you back soon, okay?
We'll be back. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks so much.
All right. Guys, we're making history. Men's lacrosse, women's lacrosse, both on this episode. First time on Wake Up the Echoes, so thanks for coming by. We've got Ben Ramsey and Chris Kavanagh here. Thanks for coming.
First, thank you for having us.
We're going to cover some men's lacrosse stuff in a second, but we always start with our Spinning Our Wheels segment. It's presented by TireRack.com. I'm actually going to have you spin the wheel, if you don't mind, Ben. Let it rip.
Yeah.
You got to spin it a little harder than you think, okay? That's a pretty good spin.
Not bad.
Okay, try it again.
One more?
We don't have that game for you.
Yeah.
Okay, do you see the one that's just, if you just roll it one more? Just roll it one more. I do have this or that for you today.
I'll do that.
So we're going to play this or that. See how I do that?
Perfect, yeah.
It's just, we're on like week 20. We're just doing this or that quite a bit. Okay, this or that, pretty simple. Going to have you guys kind of embrace debate. I'll be the tie-breaking vote, and we'll go from there. Okay? All right, 10 topics. Here we go. Television series or movie?
I'm a movies guy. You're saying...
You pick. You going for a movie or a TV series?
Movie.
Movie? Chris?
Probably TV show.
Okay. What's your top TV show off the top of the head?
Sopranos.
Oh, a throwback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, old school.
What about you?
I can fall on TV. The Gentleman. I don't know if it's a Guy Ritchie. Yeah, it's a good one.
Okay. All right. I'm TV, and I've had this discussion with a couple other athletes. I just like that I get to keep going with the characters.
Yeah.
Movie, it's just over, and I'll see you later.
Exactly.
Now, that's why they do the sequels, right? But usually the sequels aren't as good. But TV, if I'm set up for it, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. With you guys. Okay, this will be generational. TikTok or Instagram?
I'm Instagram. I don't have TikTok.
Yeah. Never downloaded TikTok before.
I like
Instagram.
IG all the way.
Uh-huh.
I'm IG. I don't have TikTok either.
Or X. I like X.
Okay. Either one of them. Oh, third. Other. You're going X over IG.
Yeah, you guys other. We're going X.
Massive Twitter guy.
You're big on Twitter.
Yeah.
What's like your most retweeted tweet?
Oh, I don't really tweet. I just get all my information.
So you're not putting stuff out. You're going on there to get your info.
Yeah. All info sources.
I gotcha. Understood. Okay. We're back to TV now. It's kind of a follow-up here. Reality or scripted TV?
100% scripted. I don't think I've watched reality.
You don't watch any reality?
Yeah.
I don't know like any reality shows.
I guess is Love Island under reality?
Heck yeah, it's under reality.
I hit that one. What is
See, Love Island. I'd like to couple up with this girl. Because are you doing like UK or USA?
Yes, no, UK, 100%.
Yeah, UK is the way to go. Yeah. UK is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like so popular over there too. These people have like a bajillion followers. Okay, so and you're not reality at all.
Just scripted.
Okay. Sopranos, that's it.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay, concert or sporting event?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Definitely sporting event. Although there's been some good concerts that have been better than some sporting events I've been to.
I feel like for both, whenever I go to a live concert or a live sporting event, it's always like, I got to go to these more. Both of them. I'm not going to choose.
You got to pick. This is called this or that.
Oh, yeah, so I'll do live sports, too. Live sports.
I'm a sports guy. I just can't do the concerts. The music, I don't know. I'm getting old. I think it's just not for me. But there are still, don't get me wrong, like a good concert. I understand why people go. Okay. Now we're kind of back towards movies here. Comedy. You have to pick one of these two. Would you rather watch a comedy or a horror film?
Comedy.
Vince Vaughn.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. What's your go-to Vince Vaughn?
Wedding Crashers go on.
Yeah.
It's a pretty standard answer. But
what about Dodgeball?
Dodgeball's
I
good.
think dodgeball's pretty good.
What else?
Gets overlooked sometimes in the comedy landscape.
He's always getting on me for not watching these movies. We were just talking about watching Friday, which is what we've been waiting
Oh,
on.
Friday.
Yeah.
Next Friday. Good one, too.
Yeah.
He knows all. I don't even know.
You gotta watch
All the Fridays are good.
Yeah, they're all good. Okay, pop or rock?
Depends on the mood. I mean, pregame definitely rock. I feel like over pop.
That's a good point. Yeah,
All right.
pre-game you're probably going to go rock. There's an energy there that you could take yourself out of the game with too much pre-game pop music.
I'd agree. Distracted.
Is what are the Eagles categorized as? Rock?
Probably.
Yeah.
It probably falls under the broad umbrella.
I would probably go rock over.
So let me ask a question now. If you guys, when it's pregame, let's say, I don't know, you're in the locker room getting ready.
Yeah.
Does someone have the aux cord?
Yeah.
Is that you got the aux cord?
Yeah.
So what happens if he throws on pop music? Is there just a riot in the locker room? Like, how does that work?
I don't think he ever would.
Okay. That's a good
He's a
leader.
good aux.
He's not letting it get there. Okay. He runs
He'll get there
a
for
tight
sure.
ship on the aux. Yeah. So you're picking the pregame music? That's okay.
Me and Will Donovan and obviously a couple other guys who have some requests, but
Does that get passed down over the years?
yeah, so my brother did it for 5 years, and then I kind of learned from him. So
Sure. So now, that is a question for him, but like you said, he did it for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
That means he came in as a freshman and
Or I don't know
got
if-
the aux.
I don't know if he did it for his freshman year, but definitely sophomore.
Or trusted him early.
Yeah.
Well, because there's two things too. It's like there's the pregame mix, I guess, that's playing when we're all warming up outside, and then there's also just like being in the locker room.
Gotcha.
Oh, no,
The one on the field is the most important one, right?
big. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that
They're
one-
both equally
both
as important.
Yeah, I agree.
But I feel like the locker room is
Oh.
very important. Get the way straight in the locker room.
I just go back. All I can when I talk to you guys, other athletes, like I just think back to high school basketball, and like that's where I peaked.
Yeah.
We must have, and this is when we were like burning CDs. There must have been hour-long debates about what our like 23-minute pregame mix would be from the court. So I can at least I understand how important that can be.
Yeah, I think we actually just finished it 2 days ago. So I think it's like 54 minutes, maybe.
Oh, so you're ready to go?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
dialed in.
All right. That sounds good. Okay, number 7. This has been an interesting one all year from different people. Phone call or text message?
Phone call. I hate texting.
There you go.
Yeah, no, I'll go phone call too. I think I get stressed out having too many texts moving around. It's easier to just get straight to the point.
I'm shocked by this. So you guys are both technically Gen Z?
Yes, technically.
Yeah. Millennial, like no one calls. It's like almost all text, like call as a last resort. But I'm getting a lot of Gen Zs. They're like, phone call. Just call me and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I feel like people are kind of rattled when you call. Like they don't know what to do. They think it's like automatic emergency.
You're in trouble.
Like I don't know. If you go over someone's house, you kind of got a text before entering.
Yeah.
You just knock on the door. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's like something relatable.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. All right. Night in or night out?
We're in season, so we'll say night on right now.
Okay. That's a very diplomatic answer.
Right.
I like that. It's a lot of nights in right now.
Yeah.
Got it. Interesting. Shop online or in store?
In store.
I'm online. I hate shopping in stores.
There's a first big disagreement from you guys, I think.
Yeah, I don't really know like sizes, and I got to try it on there.
That's a good call with the clothing.
If it's just accessories, probably Amazon.
Yeah.
But clothing is a no-go for me online.
I'd rather have the uncertainty about like sizing than have to walk around the whole store for like hours trying to find what I want rather than just scrolling through something, to be honest. That's my
I like,
take.
just click, move around,
Yeah.
and if I get the wrong size, I'll send it back.
Right.
Well, I got to say though, so I'm leaning towards you, but I'm now thinking about something that happens with me. I order the clothes, and when they don't fit, it takes me forever to. I get stressed out having to send the return order.
Yeah.
And the packaging and the address, and I'd rather not deal with that. So I think you're right. I think clothing now, I've got to find a way to go get it in person because
If you have like, say I want to order this sweatshirt again, obviously you have the size, but if you're trying different clothes.
if you're running it back, you go online.
Yeah.
New item, hit the store.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Last one. I think I maybe know where you guys are going. In the earbuds, music or podcast?
Music for sure. I think.
Podcast.
But
You're on a podcast. So that's great. Podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast. No, no. You guys will listen to this podcast when it comes out.
Right. And
Okay. I'm actually a big podcast guy, but music, pregame, podcast, otherwise. I'll be driving into the stadium before like a football or basketball game, and I'll go with music. But otherwise, it's always podcast.
Yeah.
All right, great job. I think you guys passed. I think pretty good answers.
Yeah.
Not too many disagreements. Let's talk some lacrosse. You guys are on all-time heater, obviously, back-to-back national champs. I'll start with you, Chris, just because you've been around for a while. I've got the family lineage. Just what's it been like to be a part of this run here the last couple of years?
It's been a lot of fun, a lot of great experiences with a lot of different guys coming in and out of our program, transferring us fifth years, and a lot of guys staying for their fifth year through freshman year. So I think the best piece for me has been shared experiences with a lot of different guys that I've never met before until coming here. And obviously sharing it with my family has been very important for me.
Yeah.
So we've been through a lot with this program and this university. So
you've seen, I mean, obviously the program's been in great shape before the national championships. I talked to Coach Corrigan about it. So he was quick to point out, and we've celebrated the championships the last few years, but it's been a process with teams before that didn't necessarily win it, help build it.
Yeah.
But you've seen where this program has kind of come and evolved to over the years. Like, what has that been like to see the evolution and then finally see it climax at the end?
There's been a lot of heartbreak with our program. Obviously, 2010 and 2014 losses to Duke. Very close games, won in overtime. So, just being through that, and obviously Coach Corrigan being here for 30-plus years, we just couldn't get over the hump, and to finally get over the hump with your best friends, and obviously a coach has been doing it for a long time. Can't write it better.
Ben, for you, I hear bring up Coach, and I was talking to him. 37 years is pretty incredible. What's it been like to play for Coach Corrigan in your time here?
Yeah, it is wild the amount of experience he has. I think but it's been amazing because I think he's just prepares us for anything. I think he's seen so many different situations and been just around the game for so long. It feels like very easy for us to be super confident in the fact that our practice plans are always going to be exactly what they need to be, and he's preparing us the way we need to be. So when it comes to playing, you feel confident in your preparation, stuff like that. So definitely a huge benefit to have.
Something I talked to him about too, and I want to get your guys' take because you guys are on the field in it. I get the sense every year, this is my 9th year at Notre Dame, the environment at Arlotta is it's been electric as of late. I feel like it's as electric as it's ever been. Do you guys feel that there? And what's it like when you're in that environment? I'll start with you, Chris.
I think dating back to our freshman year, our big games would be pretty full, but not really full.
Okay.
To the point where obviously the hill of the berm was filled up. But towards the end of 23 and even the beginning of 24, it was just wow, this is a whole different experience, and this is what winning provides a program. So when you win, people are more interested in and invested in your program. So we definitely saw that going out to the field.
Do you feel it on campus too, Ben? When you're walking around and just there's a different buzz about the program with the way things have gone the last couple of years?
Yeah, no, potentially, yeah. I think the only thing I was going to add to Chris, I think it's been cool too getting support from other teams. Football that's been unreal having them on the sideline, and it definitely adds another level to it. But yeah,
it helps that Faison is on both teams, right? And so they come out. We got to figure out who's going to be the next football player to keep that going over the years.
Right? We got Faison, Tyler Buckner's another guy.
That's right. You got I should have mentioned that too.
And then Matt Jeffrey.
He's got 3 guys. Yeah, Jeffrey's too.
Yeah, he's got 3 more years to do it.
What's that? Okay, so I talked to Coach Corrigan. He was really supportive of it. When you see what they're doing to be involved with both teams, I know you guys have a ton on your plate.
Yeah.
Being student athletes at Notre Dame, I talk to student athletes all the time. It's that's tough. Can you wrap your head around doing both sports? Does that even make sense to you?
No. I was talking to Jordan yesterday. I asked him how long you were home for. Have you gotten a break? He was like, yeah, I've been home for 2 days. Just got back. I can't even wrap my head around the stress his body's under. Hasn't had a break since what is coming into his freshman year. We won in 24, and he said goodbye to us on the bus and flew home for a couple of days and went to training camp with Horse.
Played in 2 national title games in 7 months, too, which is just kind of blows your mind.
Yeah.
Okay, little lacrosse. Let's call it 102, maybe. Ben, short stick, defensive midfield. just there's people that are going to listen to this that they maybe see lacrosse casually, watch it on TV. Try to explain like what your role is and how if you're watching lacrosse for maybe the first, second time, you're getting into the team because they're winning national titles. And you're like, what is your role? How do you stand out differently than a player on another player on the roster?
Right. So yeah, there's essentially 3 midfielders on the field at a time. They can go anywhere on the field, whereas defensive attackmen have to be on one side. And essentially, defensive midfielder will sub in as we're transitioning back onto defense.
See him running on it.
Yeah. So we got guys who go in like Will Angrick or certain guys who just play essentially offense. And ideally, we want to get them off so that we can get we'll have 1 LSM, which is a long stick midfielder, and then 2 short stick defensive midfielders. So that's the basic thing, and then we'll go on, play our possession, clear the ball, and then sub off and get the O guys back on. So.
Okay, but then like last year, didn't you have a game winner?
Yeah,
so talk me through that then.
Yeah, that part of the clearing is, I guess you can kind of, there's times when you can stay on in transition. That was kind of
there's a rare occasion where you have a chance to strike, right?
Yeah, so here and there.
Based upon coach's decision to let you stay.
Yeah. And but here and there, like there's an advantage of I was O-midi in high school, so I have some of those skills, and if I can get stuck down, or I can get an O-midi stuck down on the defensive end guarding me, then we might like that matchup, and that was, I guess, sort of what happened with the Cornell game.
Okay,
so
that's pretty cool. Last couple before I let you guys go, I'm just curious because now it's been unique with. I was talking to both head coaches about this. Just the COVID year meant that a lot of players could stick around. And so you guys had a lot of the same faces around for a while.
Yeah.
And now you guys, I'm sure you've led in different ways, but now you find yourself really in leadership roles on this team probably more than ever. I'll start with you, Chris. Just like what kind of pride do you take in that role and how do you lead? Like what's your leadership style and how do you want to maybe leave your imprint on this version of yourself in this team?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a big learning curve, obviously, having captains for the last 3 years. We kind of had to take a step back and just play our own role and do what we could to help our team. But obviously, our class jumping into the limelight, it's been pretty difficult transition, but obviously a good experience for further down in your life. But obviously, my style, like I just try and work as hard as I can and try and create a good image for our younger guys, based upon work ethic. Obviously, when my voice is needed, I'll step in, but pretty consistent, like just work hard basis.
What about you?
Yeah. I think I agree with Chris. It was like the jump was wild with 26 guys going out for this year. But I think it's been an absolute honor and super special. Like I guess my style is somewhere in the way of just trying to lead by example and be an example of just being all in on everything we're doing. As a team, in all facets. So
okay, I've got 2 more for each of you guys actually. First one, we'll get on the line again. You're not done yet. You have another year to go here. Obviously, more lacrosse to play. But just being a part of this, what has it meant to be a part of the Notre Dame community, Notre Dame lacrosse, but just be at this school over the last few years?
Yeah, it's been very special, especially what my family's been through here. My sister did a grad year here. Mm-hmm. I had 2 brothers go through here, so obviously I think of Notre Dame as my second home. My dad always told me to reflect upon how lucky and grateful you should always be when you look at the Dome, because there's been so many great people, not just athletes, just great people in general who've gone through here before you, and to look down to your shoes and see how lucky you got it and how special this place really is.
It's good perspective. How about you?
I think I have less of a formal response, but I think it's interesting comparing Chris and I's routes. Like, obviously so much, family tradition throughout. I kind of I was a Maryland fan growing up. That's where my dad went, but
convert.
Yeah. And then I feel incredibly lucky that I ended up here, especially being from the West Coast, where you don't really understand each the vibes of each team. I guess you could put it that way. So it felt kind of like a guess, even though there was a way to go about it that we did. But it's just been so cool with the combination of academics and athletics and having so many incredible teams that are also supporting our team. I think has been super special just to have a school that's so bought into you being a student athlete. So.
Okay. Great answers. Here's my bonus question. I haven't asked this question a lot this year, but this or that kind of inspired me. Are you guys dining hall guys? Okay. The north or south dining hall?
Well, I think we're gonna agree on this one, South for sure.
Old school South
Why south?
tradition.
Really? Have you guys been to north recently?
Yeah, we've been to North a
Come
couple
on.
times.
You seen the layout? It's
Try-
great, clean.
Try to get one of our teammates a date there for our rifle party. So
How'd that go?
it worked.
You
but
got a yes, but I don't think she showed up.
Oh, man. I'm a big north guy. I just think it's much more sophisticated in its layout, less log jams. It's just very linear. But you guys are allowed to have the wrong opinion. That's fine. That's why it's an open, honest conversation around here.
I think we like the grittiness.
The grittiness.
South
Oh,
is
that's the
what
first
it's
time I've
all
heard
about.
that. Okay.
Yeah,
You can talk me into that. If it keeps you in the right mindset in season,
exactly.
there you go.
That's it.
All right, guys, thanks for swinging by. Best of luck this year. Looking
Yep.
forward to it.
Thanks
Appreciate
for having us.
All right, Dennis. Yep.
All right, we have two women's lacrosse players here, Kristen Shanahan, Abby Lyons. Thank you for being here. We're going to get into some women's lacrosse, but I want to do our Spinning Our Wheels segment presented by TireRack.com. You see the wheel? You know what I'm going to have you do? I'm not even going to have you spin it. I'm going to have you just look. Do you see where it is right now?
Yeah.
Know your teammate. That's our game today. We're going to do know your teammate. We're going to test you guys to see how well you know your teammates, okay?
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to give you guys 6 different things. You're going to let me know who on your team you think is most likely to do something, okay? All right. Who's the most likely person on your team to borrow something and not return?
Sloan.
Okay, so fill me in. Why Sloan? Okay, why?
Just takes all your issue and just never gives it back.
Really? Do you have stuff that's like outstanding you need to get back?
Yeah, I think every girl on our team probably does.
You'll just see her wearing it sometimes, and you're like, I think that's mine.
Oh, so it's clothing items.
Yes.
And once you have them for long enough, you just might not even want them back, right?
Yeah, it's just like, just keep it.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I don't have anybody in my life quite like that, but that's interesting. I'm going to be on the lookout now if I see you walking around campus. Okay, most likely to get lost on a road trip.
Ooh.
I have an answer. I'd probably say Fran Frieri.
Okay, why do you say that?
She's not a great driver.
Oh,
So I just think that she might miss the directions because she's not paying attention.
okay. Have you guys ever been in a car? You guys are Gen Z, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever been on a car without a GPS, without your phone that can get you somewhere?
No.
So you've
No.
always had GPS.
Yes. Or like someone next to me. Like if my
Yeah.
phone's dead or something.
Someone's navigating.
Yeah.
So you have no idea what it's like to just be in a car with a map.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So growing up, we'd go on road trips with me and my parents. I'm going to feel really old now. I promise you I'm not crazy. I'm getting older. But we'd go on road trips and we'd have a map. And that was it. And so we'd take the wrong turn. We'd go 60 miles the wrong way. And then my mom might realize my dad sent us the wrong way. And then we're turning around and going back. Can you imagine being in a car?
Couldn't.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
That's so interesting. It's like you guys have never burned a CD either, right?
No.
Do you know what that means?
Like, yeah, but no.
Do you know what a VHS is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I actually remember that.
You do?
For my kid, yeah.
Okay, so you'd put the VHS.
Yes, into the, yeah.
Okay. Cassette tape? Cassette tape? Like a little tiny one for audio?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I feel like you guys might be
Not
lying
too
there.
familiar, but like
You've
I know
seen that.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Now it's just like Netflix.
Yeah. How about home phone? Like you ever call?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I know my number by heart too.
Me too.
Like, I still know it.
You call like your parents, or you call
Not
your
anymore, but like
You would.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, I just feel so old. The map though, it's actually a good.
The map is crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, I can't imagine.
I couldn't imagine.
How about like not knowing how long to get there too?
Oh, like an ETA.
Yeah. You look at the map and you're just like, oh, it looks like it's 100 miles.
Yeah.
Doing 2 hours. Okay. But remind me again, who's getting lost on the road trip? I already forgot.
My roommate Fran.
Okay. Oh, roommate. You got to keep an eye on her. Okay. Okay. Most likely to go skydiving.
Oh. Ava. She's already went skydiving.
Okay.
She's just super adventurous.
Really? Have either of you gone skydiving?
No.
I'd like to.
You would like
At some
to.
point, yeah.
You don't want to. I can tell.
No, I don't really like heights.
Yeah. I want 2 feet on the ground at all times. So why do you want to go skydiving? What about that appeals to you?
I'd enjoy like the thrill of it, like just being in the air. I'm not scared of heights. I would definitely want to be attached to somebody. I don't think I could ever
Yeah.
do it on my own. but I think it would just be cool to experience that. I also like that feeling of like being on a roller coaster and your stomach dropping.
Ooh, see, I hate that.
I do like that.
You're stressing me out right now.
I don't like it either. My hands are getting clammy.
I'm like, honestly, I'm the exact same way. And I'm thinking about, as you said, the idea of just falling. I'm in sheer panic. And then you must be trusting because, like you said, you want to be with someone, of course. There's no way I'm pulling the cord. But even as much of a trained professional, I just can't imagine someone, it's up to them. It is up to them. I have no control. Yeah. And you're just trusting them, but you're willing to.
I'm willing to.
A stranger, like a stranger. A paid professional, but a stranger.
I mean, the pictures are so cool what you get from Intel.
Yeah. IG would be pretty poppin'. Yeah.
And you would have to pay the extra $100 for the pictures. Yeah, you'd have to at that.
Yeah, it's probably worth the likes. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 4, most likely to write a best-selling novel.
Who's a writer on our team? Best. I feel like
Could be someone that gives good speeches, maybe too. Just they're good with words, or they have that creative side of their brain where they're weaving tales throughout the day.
I feel like I was actually talking about this with Margot. Like Marley Sanders could write a great book.
I agree. I think Marley is a good answer. I also think Ellie Noto.
Ellie Noto, yeah, she's got
her mom recently wrote a book. She's just
really?
Yeah. And then Ellie's just very well spoken. I think she's a good storyteller.
Yeah.
So I think she could write a good book.
Okay. Either of you guys have the writing bug or no?
I like to read.
Yeah.
Okay. I also like to read,
but not.
You don't want to write your own book.
Yeah.
No.
Fair enough.
I enjoy writing.
It's okay to be just a consumer sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. This is an interesting one. I'd be curious to hear this. Most likely to befriend a wild animal.
Oh, I know. I feel like we're going to have the same answer.
Get on the count of 3.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Avery.
Explain, please.
She loves animals.
Okay.
Like, has dog treats in her wallet everywhere she goes.
Okay, so now I have my red flags. All right, dog treats in the wallet. That's a little.
Like in her like little wallet.
Just in case. Is it
in
for her
case-
dog?
No, she
Okay,
doesn't
so
have a dog.
yes, that's weird. If it was for her dog, that'd be cool. She's walking around like looking for dogs, like strange dogs.
Say she's at like walking around campus around the lakes and she like runs into a dog and she's like, "Can I give your dog a treat?" Like, I would love to.
Okay.
Take a dog and give him a treat.
She's made both friends and enemies with the squirrels on campus. Yeah, she's been bitten by one before.
Oh no, you do not want to get bitten by a squirrel.
She has.
Oh my goodness.
But they always seem to just come to her.
Okay.
Like, she doesn't have to lure them in. They just...
This squirrel.
They just...
Befriend a wild. There you go. Befriend a wild animal. So she's already kind of done it. She's doing it with the squirrel. She's already kind of there. Do you guys have pets? Either of you?
Yeah, I have a dog.
Okay. Dog.
I also have a dog.
Okay. So this is a topic that comes up on the show a lot. I'm a cat person.
Ooh.
See, did you see what you did?
Sorry.
Did you see what you did? This is what society has done to everyone, you in particular, it seems. Notice that I don't think I reacted negatively to the dog, right? I said, "Oh." And I said, "I'm a cat person." And you said, "Ugh." And there's too many people that have been conditioned to think that there's something wrong with cats, whereas I think both are fine. But we need to get rid of this anti-cat narrative out there because they're lovely creatures. What do you have? Why'd you say that?
No, I love all animals.
Okay.
I do.
Have you ever had a cat?
No.
Okay. Maybe you just need to spend more time with cats.
Yeah. Actually, our assistant coach has 3 cats.
Really?
Yeah, Ellie Macera. She has 3, like, kittens. Yeah. They're, like, really small. They're adorable, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I recommend, as you go throughout life, maybe there'll be a time where you're ready to welcome a cat into your life. You should just be open to it. I really think you'll enjoy it.
I would be open to it.
Okay. Good.
I think they're super loving.
Okay. I love cats.
Yeah.
And nothing against dogs either. But I do think cats are better than dogs. Okay, last one. I have an answer for this, but I'm going to wait for you guys. Most likely to be an undercover cop.
Undercover is what's getting me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like
You know a couple that just be straight up cops.
I know a few people who just...
I'm going like through our roster right now. Honestly, you would be a great undercover cop.
Oh.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, actually.
Thank you.
So why do you say that about her? Can she be deceptive in a good way? Like,
Yeah.
keep a secret?
Yeah. Like totally.
Thank you.
You think you could do it?
I think I could. Yeah,
Maybe it's you.
maybe.
You're part of the team. Okay,
yeah,
well,
actually, you would be my definite answer of undercover cop.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, think about it. When your time is done here, maybe you'll be
Yeah.
undercover cop. I was going to go with Coach Halfpenny. To your point, maybe not very good undercover. I think just maybe like career change at some point. Maybe she
Yeah.
could get law enforcement, just like kind of lay down the law. That's the sense I get from her. Good job. I think you guys passed on those. I think you guys' teammates will be happy. You guys can debate it whenever they see this. They might have some thoughts.
Clothing revealing is
clothing-
to a T.
Yeah, so you can find the clothes.
We'll agree with that.
Yeah. Let's talk some women's lacrosse, and let's start with. I was talking to Coach Halfpenny earlier. I'm gonna give you guys one more test here. Can you rattle off the 7 pillars of the gold standard of the 7 words?
Yeah.
Do you know all 7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lay 'em on me right now.
So it's excellence, accountability,
Unity.
yep, sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
Is it resilience?
Yeah, resilience.
There's another R, I think.
Respect.
Respect. Yeah.
And
Did you guys get you?
Yeah, we said unity.
You said excellence? Yeah.
Relentless.
Oh, yeah, there's another R.
Wait, it's not resilience, though.
Oh, it's relentless.
It's relentless.
Yeah.
You guys are on the right track.
Maybe cut that part out.
No, yeah, it's the beauty of a podcast. No, if you guys, I think, no offense to Coach Halfpenny, you guys got them, I think, quicker than she did. Now she went on a good explanation about each one. But my question for you, I'll start with you, Abby. What's your favorite one of those 7, and which one do you identify with the most?
I think that excellence is something that I try to embody. I think that that's a really important one. I think it goes along with the idea of perfection, but it strays away from it in the fact that you don't need to be perfect in order to be excellent. You can make mistakes and you can learn while continuing to follow your goals, meet your goals, and excel.
Yeah.
I think it embodies the idea of working hard, and I think it's an overarching theme of the rest of our pillars because you need respect, sacrifice. You need to be relentless in order to be excellent. So that's
Kind
one
of a
that
culmination of all of those. Yeah. Okay.
So that's one that I try to embody by bringing in a little bit of each.
What about you, Kristen? What comes to mind?
I think we miss passion.
You're right.
Yeah.
There you go. Passion.
Yeah.
Good catch.
I would-
Which
I
I
would-
like that one a lot.
Yeah, I would choose passion for our team. I think the love that we have for the sport and the love that we have for each other just is what our whole culture is about. And like the passion that we have coming into each practice, each team lift, each culture club meeting, each scout is just unbelievable. And it's just amazing to see every day our passion is growing for the sport and for each other each and every day since the fall, since we've all gotten on campus.
So I've watched your team for a long time since being on campus, and the passion, I talked to Coach Halfpenny about this too, it's like very evident. And to me, it's most evident when they cut to the sideline after a goal. And there's the celebrations, but it seems very earnest and genuine. It's not contrived or it's not inauthentic. Just how do you develop that? Because to me, that's something that you can try to manufacture passion, but I get the sense it has to be organic. How do you as a leader help foster that in a team?
I honestly get chills thinking about it, like about our team, because I've never been a part of something like this ever. Like any team I've ever been on, it's never been like this. It's something so special, and just you come into this group as a freshman, and like now being like a graduate student, like it still feels the same. Like you come into this group and it's just so loving, and like everyone believes that you're on the right path. Almost like you're in this together, like you're gonna get your time, like from injury to being on the sideline to being a starter to being on the field. I think everyone is so supportive.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about embodying your role, right? If you're on the sideline, you're giving your 100%. If you're on the field, you're giving your 100%. So I think the sideline, like the girls doing the celebrations, looking over after a goal, it's just like, I just smile so much. And honestly, it really does give me goosebumps because I'm like, I love those girls so much. And I wouldn't be the person who I am without my whole entire team, without the girls on the sideline, without the girls on the field.
So Abby, you're a junior, right? So you've not been in it as long, but is that the same for you? Like, you feel like once you became part of this culture, like immediately you felt that passion, like you're part of this whole thing?
Absolutely. I think immediately you embrace the role that you're in, kind of speaking to what Chris was talking about. Whether you are on the field or you're on the sidelines, everybody has something to be proud of. Everybody has something that they are doing, like a role on the team that we all celebrate. Like, no role is better than the next. We all make sure to embrace every single role and really use it to become a better person, better player, better teammate. So I definitely would say immediately coming in, like Chris was saying, it is something different than I've ever experienced before. I don't think I've ever felt being on a team, no matter what role or position I'm in, I feel
That you're truly like
truly needed and wanted.
Yeah. Like, I call these girls like literally my best friends.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy because it's like your freshman year, you come in and you're like, oh my gosh, 40 girls. But then you realize like a month or two in, it's like, wow, these girls are my best friends. And then like 5 years later, 4 years later, I'm like, wow, like, I don't know what I would do without Abby or like the other 30 girls on the team, honestly. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to dive into that whole role thing, because last year you were injured, right? You're out.
Yeah.
And I talked to Coach Halfpenny about it as well. It's like, that's a tough thing to go through, especially at that stage in your career. So how were you either able to stay engaged as part of the team or be kept engaged by your teammates? And then now you're obviously playing again, but just what's that process like? Because I think it's easy to be a player when you're injured in that situation and not feel like you have a role and not feel like you can contribute. And it can be easy to check out. And it can be easy for your teammates to forget about you and make you feel like, well, you know, it's great that you're still around with us, but you're not giving us anything on the field. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, it's honestly, it's incredibly hard. Like, I was injured freshman year too. Like, so I kind of knew going into last year, like when I did get injured again, like what it would be. And I knew it was my senior year last year. And obviously, like my whole grade I've been with the past 4 years, like I knew I was going to be there no matter what. Like, I was going to support and give it my all as much as I could without actually being on the field. So whether that was like just being a voice on the side for them to come talk to me or, you know, just cheering my heart out, honestly. Sure. But I think just like I said, like realizing that you were on a certain journey and kind of in your position where you are, like for a certain reason, and just kind of following your path, following your journey, because, you know, eventually down the road, like, an injury makes you who you are. And I fully believe that if I didn't get injured here, like, I obviously would not be in this position where I am right now. So I'm honestly so blessed to, you know, be here another year. And, you know, injuries suck, but without them, I truly, like, wouldn't be sitting next to Abby or wouldn't be talking to you right now.
It's amazing how many injured athletes I talk to. Unfortunately, it kind of comes with the territory of being here and seeing enough athletes get hurt who, once they get through it, they realize you don't want to get injured, but most of them feel like they are better for having gone through it. Yeah. Did you feel, it sounds like you feel that way. You have that perspective now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
not easy to get
so
there.
hard, but I think like working with, you know, my strength trainer or my, you know, actual trainer, like I've never been so pushed before, you know, obviously both mentally and physically. Like I've never felt so strong in my life, like from these injuries. Like if I was training just to train to get back, like I was like training to come back from like an injury. Like it was so different. So I think it just, I don't know, it just made me so much stronger, like physically and mentally. It's just like a huge test. So.
Sure. I want to know from both of you real quick, a couple more questions before we're done here. How did you guys each get into lacrosse? Like, how did you first find lacrosse, Abby? What led you to it?
I started playing lacrosse in, I want to say, first grade. My mom was the coach of our PAL team when we were younger. She'd hold clinics like within our town. I come from a really small town. I graduated with 92 kids, and it was a public school, so I'd been going to the same school as all the kids from kindergarten up until my senior year of high school. Yeah. So being in a small community, you do get pushed into a lot of sports because you need to have the numbers.
Got to fill the roster
to like fit the teams. So I started pretty young, but my mom, I definitely would say, was a big advocate for me to play lacrosse. She played lacrosse all throughout high school. Okay. And then she ended up playing in college as well. So I think that protected me.
Okay, that makes sense. How about you?
My whole family pretty much played lacrosse.
Really?
My dad, my 2 uncles, my older brother, my older sister.
Okay.
So kind of was born into the family of lacrosse.
Yeah.
So I definitely, ever since I was little, I had a stick in my hand.
Okay. So I asked that because I now see women's lacrosse. Like the pro league is starting up. I was talking to Coach Halfpenny about this, at least, and you guys probably saw it because you played growing up younger too. Like in the last decade, the rule changes, I think, have made it so much more dynamic and interesting, certainly on TV.
Yeah.
I just feel like when I was growing up, we had lacrosse. I was up in Seattle. We did have a lacrosse team, but I don't know. We maybe had a women's lacrosse team, but just like it wasn't very prevalent. Now I feel like if you're a young girl growing up, you see it a lot more and you can get into it. Do you guys feel like the growth happening in real time? When you go home or when you talk to younger girls, do you see just more of them excited to get into the sport?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially like our girls who just graduated last year and like a bunch of other alumni now on this Boston team for the professional. It's amazing because they play this week and it's like it's an actual professional lacrosse league, and we're like, it's so amazing to see like that is so prevalent now, and like lacrosse coming into the Olympics. Like, I don't know, it's so cool that lacrosse has grown so much. And
I think Olympics is going to be like a huge moment for both the men's, but really the women's as well. Just to like get it on that stage will be unbelievable.
Yeah, it's so exciting to watch and see how much it has grown since we've even gotten to college. Like the past 4 years, honestly, it's been, they went from Athletes Unlimited to, pro lacrosse, now lacrosse in the Olympics, and sixes and new rule changes. So it's really evolved for so much over the past few years.
I know you guys are 2 games into the year, but still a ton of season left. I'll start with you, Abby. Just what are you hoping to get out of this year as you get set for another season with Notre Dame? Like, what are your goals? Doesn't have to be results oriented, but like when you look back on this season, what do you hope to have accomplished?
I mean, goal wise, we're chasing a national championship.
Okay. I didn't say it. You can say it. Yeah, sure.
But otherwise, we're looking to continue to develop our brand. We're looking to just continuing to show our depth and show that we are passionate and we do want to be here and we want to show people that we're better than what the media may say, or just literally like, yeah. I mean, I completely agree. I would say like, this is it for me. Like, I'm going to give it all, like give all till I have, like to my girls, obviously, and like leave it out on the field because, we're only given it was 15 games and then hopefully another 5.
Mm-hmm.
So
sure,
truly like playing to the last whistle every game, chasing that dream of a national championship because this is it for me.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys stopping by. I will say, like, every time I talk to women's lacrosse players or Coach Halfpenny, it's like such a unique bond. And like you guys just talked about, I could see it in your eyes, but like everyone's so bought in, not just the players that are here now, but like the players that were here before, right? Yeah. It's like it's all been building to hopefully what you said you guys can accomplish here this year. But again, best of luck this year, and thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
So much.
Thanks for having us.
Go Irish.
That does it for this week's edition of Wake Up the Echoes presented by TireRack.com. Thanks again to everybody with both the men's and women's lacrosse programs for stopping by the show this week. It was great to preview their runs, and again, we hope to see them playing deep into the month of May this season. That does it. We'll talk to you next time on Wake Up the Echoes.